I have been doing taxes since 1980, right? From 1980 to 2001 for other companies, 2001 on till today, right? Been doing it as my own company. I think it's so vital that we talk about those things to make sure that people are aware there's an opportunity for them to find their rhythm and through that rhythm build their wealth, but we don't have to give half our wealth to the government. Every day I'm so blessed to have these families come to me with these stories about how we've saved so much money for them. We got them tax credits, we got them tax incentives, we got them grants that allowed them to keep their businesses open during COVID. Things happened during 9/11. That's how far this goes back for me, right?
Wow.
And then we have the 2008 financial crisis. We've been through a lot, and through it all, we've saved so many small businesses from the death knell, which were these events, right? And now they're open and they're thriving.
Hi guys, welcome to the Rhythm Investor podcast. My name is Lee Edward Smith.
And I'm Kat Aguilar Smith.
And on our podcast, we interview small business movers and shakers and billionaire money makers. And today we have none other than the man that can make tax sexier than anyone else, Mr. Julio Gonzalez. Thank you so much for being so gracious to take time out of your day, and we are so happy to be with you.
Well, thanks for helping make tax sexy with me today. I appreciate that. It's hard, right? That's the biggest challenge. Like, who wants to learn about taxes? Not many people.
That's right.
But it is a valuable thing to know.
How did you get to that point? The most interesting man in tax. How did you get to that point on your greatest accomplishment?
I have been doing taxes since 1980, right? So a long time. And but from 1980 to 2001 for other companies, 2001 on till today, right? Been doing it as my own company. And really, for me, it's all about creating tax literacy. This is what we're doing right now, right? We're talking about taxes.
That's right. Yeah.
We're talking about literacy. I think it's so vital that we talk about those things to make sure that people are aware that there's an opportunity for them to build their wealth, right? Find their rhythm. And through that rhythm, build their wealth, but we don't have to give half our wealth to the government, right? I mean, most people pay 50% taxes that are small business owners, and Fortune 500 companies pay 9 to 10% of their net income taxes in taxes, so there's a huge discrepancy. And all we're trying to do is say, you can act like the big business. You can pay 10%, 11% in taxes by using the tax code as your partner in finding ways to save that capital. And because there's no way to legacy wealth if you're going to pay 50% of your profits to the government. There's just no way to do it. It's such a disadvantage for most small business owners. But taking advantage of the tax code and using it like the billionaires and the Fortune 500 companies, that's the way to legacy wealth for a lot of small family owners.
Yeah, and I can imagine the amount of small businesses and lives that you have changed. Is there a story that stands out that you can tell us of a small business or an individual that got a grant or saved on their taxes that really left an impact on you?
I tell you, every day I'm so blessed to have these families come to me with these stories about how we've saved so much money for them. We got them tax credits, we got them tax incentives, we got them grants that allowed them to keep their businesses open during COVID when they were going to close, right? When things happened during 9/11. Like, that's how far this goes back for me, right? And then we have the 2008 financial crisis. We've been through a lot, and through it all, we've saved so many small businesses from the death knell, which were these events, right? And now they're open and they're thriving. But I'll give you an example. Like, I remember this plumber came to me 2001, had to write a $50,000 check to the IRS, right? He had a good, successful year, made profits, and his tax bill was $50,000. And I said, look, instead of paying the $50,000, why don't you take that same $50,000 and buy a $200,000 condo, right, that you can rent, and take that $50,000, go get some financing, and instead of having a tax liability, let's convert it to an appreciating asset. So what did he do? He took the $50,000, bought a $200,000 condo, right, and used that condo as a tax write-off, eliminated his taxes, right? So we just traded $50,000 to the IRS to $50,000 to himself, the $200,000 condo. That $200,000 condo, he sold 20 years later for over $1 million.
Wow.
Right. And along the way, the rent paid the loan back,
Yep.
right? Paid all that money back, gave him some rent monthly
Yep.
dividends, right?
He never had to call a plumber.
Never had to call a plumber, which I have to do on my own properties. And by the way, he did that every year. So that at the end of the time, that $50,000, well, he just followed the same model. And
Incredible.
he built his net worth to over today $100 million.
Wow.
And I don't think it happens without us having that conversation back in 2001.
And that's so
And anyone can do that.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's really the information that you don't know, because a lot of small businesses, they know what their parents maybe just passed on to them, and they keep that model. But until you create that relationship and someone tells you there's another way, like what you guys are doing, the important work that you guys are doing, they don't change trajectories. And so even having those savings, I mean, that's so impactful for a small business. I mean, it's just the start, it's the start. And so what, I know that you also focus a lot on grants for small businesses as well. So the tax savings, the grants, what exactly with the grants, how does that work? How does a business actually move forward on the grant side?
I would say tax code and grant code are very similar in the sense that the Fortune 500 companies are the ones getting all the grants.
Yeah.
Tesla,
Yep.
Meta, they're building these billion-dollar companies, trillion-dollar companies through grants. Yet the grants, like taxes, are accessible to everyone in this country, right? So, but small business owners don't have the time to apply for grants. They don't have the time to look for grants.
It's true.
Right? So, but just like saving $50,000 and turning that into a $10 million empire 20 years later, a $50,000 grant can give you all the capital you need to hire people, grow your companies, and then that is like, it's free capital, right? So creating that equity to help those people is so vitally important. We do that every day.
Yeah. And it changes people's perspective that the government can be your partner.
The government is our partner, right? I mean, that's right. If we utilize the tax code isn't to pay more, right? The tax code, 2 million pages of tax code, every page is how do you pay less?
That's right.
And the grants are all about how can you get back some of the tax dollars you paid in back as a grant for your business to grow it. We reward people with good tax code and grants for growing employment in this country, for investing in people in this country, right? And so taking advantage of that is so critical.
So when you were writing the tax code and the big beautiful bill, what was your top 3 priorities in order to continue to help the small businesses and entrepreneurs and movers and shakers like that plumber, take that 50,000 and, my math might be off, but 200x that to 10 million.
Yeah, I think the biggest priority for me was to convince Congress to make the tax code permanent. Whatever we're going to do, let's make it better. Let's help small business owners. Let's help individuals, and let's make it permanent, because for the last 25 years, we wake up January 1st. After New Year's Eve, we wake up every day to a new tax code. So the small business owner has to wake up to a new tax code. So does his accountant. And a lot of times, you didn't know that tax code was going to change during the year, right? Because it's constantly changing. So can we have a tax code that everyone can rely on and be able to run their businesses by and make it permanent? So that was the number one thing. We got that done, right? So tax code is permanent.
That's your legacy.
That's my legacy. Well, let's hope that's one of them, right? And so that was vitally important. Then
wonderful.
we had to make bonus depreciation 100% permanent, right? So bonus depreciation is we buy equipment, but under the government rules, we had to write it off over 5 years. But you already spent the money.
Yeah.
Why can't I expense something that I just paid for? We made that permanent 100%. So that's fantastic. That's
amazing.
vitally important, right? Like, reward us for investing in our companies, but don't make us pay for it over 5 years. I think that was critical as well. And then obviously we restored the R&D tax credits for full expensing, so that people, when they're investing and doing innovation in their business, they're rewarded and get refunds on the labor that they spend in innovation costs. So
no
I
matter-
thought those, if you wanted 3, I can give you 3, I can give you 100.
Yes.
I'm sure you could give us 100. And no matter what party's in office, that's going to be consistent for the business owner, because Democrat, Republican, Independent, money is still green, and small businesses still need it, right?
That's absolutely right. This has to be bipartisan, right? We have to get tax policy that's good. I mean, look, we have a government that's more divisive than ever, but ultimately, we have to reward small businesses as a country,
Yep.
because without that investment and with onerous regulations on them,
Yep.
we don't have employment for people.
And how impactful that is. I mean, for a small business, I look at even like my family, who I come from an entrepreneurial family, on that side, even having that opportunity to tap into those grants. So the other side of your work that you're doing is helping businesses with the grant writing itself. And I understand that you are because that's the other divide. It's like, if I was a small business owner and I wanted to maximize on these grants, there's so many things that are always changing. I have to learn the application process. It almost seems so daunting. And so you help small businesses with the grant writing as well, and getting them those grants, which is so important. That's like almost the hump that they need to go through. And that's beautiful. I think that that's really what small business really is about maximizing their taxes, maximizing the grants. And so that's so impactful how many people that you've touched on that side, for sure. So what, if looking forward, now that we have all these permanencies in place, what are the next steps to help business owners, small business owners, on your agenda?
Well, I think we have to continue to create that literacy, because that's the biggest gap. If we said that big corporations pay 10% of their net income in taxes, and small businesses still pay 40 to 50% of their net income, well, then the government is 50% owner of the small businesses and 10% owner of the large companies, right? So we've got to continue to narrow that gap. We've got to bring small businesses to the point where government is not so onerous in terms of taking the profit. Now, that's because tax code is complicated. It's not easy to digest. We got 2 million pages there. So if we create the literacy through programs like this, through this podcast, and we make people more aware of the ability to pay less taxes by using the code, by investing in themselves, by taking risk, then, and I think those are the people you work with, right?
That's
They're the ones taking the risk, but why not take the advantages of taking that risk?
Correct.
And using that, let's use that as a metaphor, taking the risk. I was thinking about, you were gracious to be on our stage at the Rhythm Investor Conference. We know you have a crazy schedule, and rhythm is about balance. So how does Mr. Julio Gonzalez stay balanced? Because I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's you're working 80 hours, so someone doesn't tell you what to do for 40, right? So we're constantly pushing to the next, but at some point you burn out. So what is your secret sauce to staying healthy? How do you take a break? What does that look like for you?
As an entrepreneur, you're always seeking that balance, right?
Yeah,
that balance is
that's
probably the hardest thing to find.
That's right.
Because you're so invested in what you're doing to help others, right? I think that comes from doing charity work. And the giving doesn't stop at the business, right? It keeps going through the personal side, through the churches, and through all those programs, and helping disadvantaged children, right? The communities where we grew up in, and I don't think I ever take that for granted. But I think there's nothing better than giving, and whether you're doing that personally or as a business, I think that's, for me, what's most rewarding, and finding that balance.
I love that.
I love it. You are such a trailblazer, and the most interesting man in tax has made it so interesting for us to follow these tax nuances. And I know, it's beautiful to see on the small business side the work that you're doing. So we congratulate you on that, Julio. It's impactful. I think, for our audience, we have a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of small businesses, a lot of people that are just trying to break through. What would be the one piece of advice that you want to leave people with for on that side? We mentioned the tax. How do they get started? How do they start, becoming financially literate, on that side of things, and just taking the first step forward to financial literacy?
Yeah, I think more than ever, they have more access to tools than we ever had, right? They can go onto ChatGPT and say, what grants might be available? Who can help me with grants, right? So what can I do to save on taxes? We've never had that, right?
Yeah.
So I always say, one, make sure you're always investing in yourself.
That's right.
And if you want to pay 50% back to the government and not take advantage of grants, then you're being reactive, right? You're not being proactive. If you want to be proactive, go use these tools, but not only use these tools, then go to your accounting firm and go to resources in the state that you live in, your community, and find out what can I do to help myself. Then go to your accounting firm and ask what they think of this. I think we don't hold the people we hire accountable. A lot of people hire accountants and, basically go sign the tax returns
Right.
and think that was probably a good thing. It's not.
They usually see them once a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once a year,
Like
yeah.
it can't be like your doctor. We're going to see him once a year.
Right.
You got to be
Right.
proactive, and you got to keep, making sure that you're going to keep that wealth from all your hard work. I see so many people that build companies 20, 30 years and then give 50% of it back to the government
Yeah.
when they sell it.
Yeah.
There doesn't have to be that way,
And
right?
if you're not willing to fight for your business, I think that's also kind of the plight of the entrepreneur, is that you're constantly always trying to get to that next step. You're not being understanding of making sure you're continuing to have the foundations of the finances that you should be keeping.
Yeah.
And your new book is incredible. The secrets of the tax billionaire, right? How would you, what would you say is the number one secret that the Fortune 500 companies have, in addition to the grants, that the small business owner should be looking at?
I think the number one secret is investing in real estate as a business, because a lot of people rent. So they're renting from someone else who has the property that has that investment, that's getting all the tax benefits
Yeah.
and getting your money in rent. So instead of rent, I would say buy your own building, take advantage of all the tax incentives that go with that, and have that asset, so that at the end of the 20 years, you paid rent for 20 years and you have no asset. You could have been paying yourself rent, getting all the tax advantages, and at the end of 20 years, you have a $10 million building, right? I think that's the best way. I would say that's number one. If we had to pick one, I think that I would take that one.
Yeah, that's an important one.
And real estate for sure is definitely how a lot of the wealthy has made their wealth also, arguably in other asset types as well. So real estate is wonderful on that side. So I the cost seg and whatnot programs that you have, how can people tap into cost seg savings on that side?
Yeah, cost seg is great. The tax code rewards us for investing in real estate. So, and what a cost segregation study is basically an engineering report that says, of this building, half of it's non-structural, and that thing can be expensed immediately under our current tax code. So you could be a business owner and say, okay, well, I don't want to pay someone else rent to get the tax benefits, right? And long-term, get the benefits of owning property. I say if you're small business owners, we have to own the assets to have wealth.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right? Otherwise, someone else is going to have the wealth,
Oh, yeah.
right? So let's own the assets, and then let's take advantage of cost segregation to write them off quicker,
Yep.
so that we can use all those write-offs to keep the capital and invest in ourselves, right? That's all I've done since 2001.
Wow.
Buy a property, I'm not paying rent to someone else, I'm going to own my property, I'm going to pay rent to myself, I'm going to get all the tax benefits, and then in 20 years, that building I bought for $1 million, I'll sell for $20 million, but I'll just keep doing that.
Yep.
Because I wouldn't have that $20 million if two things. I paid all my taxable income without looking for ways to bring it down. And I was
That's
paying
right.
other people to use their assets, not
Brilliant.
me.
That's right. That's
I would do those two things.
Those are very important things.
Yeah, and I think that's really the start of a lot of entrepreneurs start with their businesses. I think that's like the easiest way to get in is like start with your business, and that's like an investment in its own, working capital and whatnot, and saving on your taxes, and then also so the next step is the real estate investor. I think a lot for this generation that's upcoming, they look at renting and they say, oh well. If I can rent for this amount and I can buy for this amount, I might as well just rent so I can put it in experiences. So it's actually more beneficial for you to actually buy, hold, and actually use those tax benefits, because that's been the trend that has been going on, especially with the younger generations that are getting out of college. It's like, oh well, I want the experience. But so what would you say to those upcoming renters that are out there?
Yeah, listen, you can rent and make someone else a millionaire,
Yep,
or you can own and rent to other people and become the millionaire.
that's right.
I mean, there's
it.
no other way to
That's it.
accumulate assets,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's bottom line. And I get it that sometimes it's easier to rent. It's not easy to own, right?
Yeah.
I mean, You have to take care of the property, you have to be responsive and all those things, but what a great investment. What a great investment.
Yeah.
All I've done is own properties, and I keep buying them, and I've owned them for 25 years, and someone else paid me the rent,
Yeah.
right? And I had to work to get that rent, but at the end of the day, now I'm looking back 20, 30 years and saying, oh my God, look at all these assets I had that someone else paid me rent for.
Yeah.
And if I would have rented, I wouldn't have these assets.
Right. Right.
So,
and they're working for you while you're sleeping. Someone else is working to pay those bills. So you're not actively working. It's a lot of that is passive as well. It turns into passive. And so it's beautiful. I think that a lot of people need to hear that side of things. I think a lot of people get stuck on the nuance of a 9-to-5 job and let me just pay my rent. And this is like, the way that the world works is to go into a corporate job and just, so I think that that's something that the generations, especially now need to hear. The ones that are coming out of college, the ones that are even, leveling up.
And coming from none other than Mr. Julio Gonzalez, who is, literally the forefather, I would say the uncle, you're younger than the forefather of, just creativity and taxes. Let's obviously with rhythm, we wanna learn a little bit about who Julio Gonzalez is. Maybe when he's, just driving down the road, just, what is your music of choice, Julio? If you're in the car and you're jamming out, how do you get into the rhythm? Because I think for us at Rhythm Investor, obviously we want people to learn from incredible people like yourself, be in rooms, but also having some fun along the journey is also part of it. So what does Mr. Julio Gonzalez listen to if he's in the car?
thank God for Pandora. I got to tell you, because every day you can listen to something new from
That's
a
right.
different country and experience all this new music every week. And that's what's really fun is, being able to experience other communities' musics, because for me, there's not one music, right?
Yeah.
I just love listening to all kinds of music. I love to go into Pandora and say, let's pick a country today.
Yeah.
And let's go listen to the top 100 songs of that country. It's so fun,
I love that.
going in and listening to Germany and I get a bunch of ABBA, right? It's kind of fun to do that. And so I love listening to all cultures. My dad is Latin American. And so, growing up then, I was listening to probably a lot of Cuban music. But so growing up with that, but expanding those boundaries and listening to other songs from other cultures, I just love doing that.
I love
Do
it.
you do the thing? I mean, we've had some incredible dinners with you, and on the culinary side, do you like to also cross borders in regards to cuisine as well?
I'm the only Cuban Puerto Rican that likes spicy food. Right?
We love spicy too.
So we don't grow up with spice.
Yeah.
And I would say all my family doesn't like spice,
Yeah.
but you travel, you get spicy food and you're like, is there anything better? I mean, I love that.
When it's flavorful spicy too. Oh my gosh, it's so great.
Yeah.
So great.
I want to be on that show where they eat the hot peppers.
Yes, hot
Oh,
ones.
you like
Like
the
you-
spicy?
Yeah, like next time you have me on the podcast, can we set up the peppers and
There we go.
we'll just eat a few as we're going?
So I don't know if you know this, but during the pandemic, when we weren't touring, Kat and I still have 7 shows touring the country, but during the pandemic, we were obviously home, and we launched a hot sauce brand called Gringuito
That's right.
sauce.
Oh my God, bring it,
Yeah,
bring
we
that,
should've
bring
brought
that. Let me see it.
You would have loved it. Oh yeah. Oh jeez. But as entrepreneurs, I think the biggest thing, we found our rhythm a lot in also in commercial real estate, a lot in our dance festival journey. We toured as so we've kind of done a little bit of everything, worn every hat. But I think that the biggest thing, now coming into our own and opening up a new chapter in our rhythm book, the biggest thing has been, figuring out how to make sure that we keep our wealth. And so that's where, we were really curious about that once we started having kids. And I think it's always transcended. But even for the younger generation, I think it's very important that even if you start young, you could really amass wealth a lot quicker. We're starting now with kids and whatnot, always thinking about our businesses and investing in our businesses. But had we known this even, in our younger years, now we teach our son.
What do you mean? We're still young.
Yeah.
Right, Julio?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we teach, like Liam is 3 years old, and
Yeah.
we teach him like, hey, this is the concept of investing. Save your, money so you can put it here, and then, all those types of things are really important also to kind of trickle in. I wish we kind of had that, growing
Well,
up.
listen, I would suggest this. The tax code rewards having children, right? So have more children. Listen, have 10 children because you get tax credits for every child,
Yeah, that's
right?
right. That's
And a lot of people miss this tax benefit, but you can pay your children payroll
Yes.
and get the write-off,
Yes.
right?
It's like over
Without them paying tax.
$14,000 a year-ish, right?
Yeah, so start paying the kids, put them into the payroll, you get the tax benefits.
Oh, they already work for the business. They're
Yeah.
kind
But pay them, right? Because why pay them the supplies when they can go buy the supplies
That's
and you
right.
get the tax write-off,
That's
right? We're
right.
converting a
Brilliant.
tax write-off. So look, have more children because you get the tax credit every year for each children, right? So have a ton of them.
I love it.
Like you're never going to pay taxes again if you have.
Yeah.
Once you get up to 10 kids, you're
just
not
keep
paying any more
popping 'em out,
taxes.
yeah.
There you go. Let's go.
We all had it wrong. We thought kids cost money, but see, you can actually figure out how to
Hey.
just basically, get tax benefits.
Right now, their payroll, their tax credits.
Oh,
Like
geez.
it's the gift that keeps giving. So just have more.
There we go.
And if you think about it, if you're a good parent, one day they may buy you something.
Look, it always.
Or take care of you.
Listen, or take care of you,
Hopefully.
right? Right, I'm going through that right now. So, like, have the kids. Look, I have a friend. He's a client of mine. He has 18 children,
Wow.
18.
right? So him and his wife worked on this for 20 years, right?
Wow.
Just
And I said,
That's
why
that's a
8?
strategy.
Yeah, and he's like, why 18? He's like, because I always hoped that one of them would eventually be able to run our companies,
Yeah.
wow.
right? So
Wow.
That's
keep
amazing.
going.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
and-
You're young, keep going.
We only
And-
have 2. We have a long way to go.
And statistically, at least 2 of them will hate you. So you need to at least have 18.
That's right,
great
18.
odds. Well, Julio.
And he got a couple out of it.
Oh,
He
yeah.
does. So thank you so much for inviting us into your beautiful home and giving us an opportunity to understand who you are, and of course and we've met many people, and you have such a warmth, and I'm honestly saying that you have such a warmth and a gift of giving, and we're people that bring people together. You saw that at our conference, and that's a type of energy. So I want to say we're so appreciative
Ultimate goal.
Yeah.
of all the
Yes.
gifts that you give, and how do people find you and
Listen, I would love to give your audience a gift. Okay, so just text Y, W-H-Y, Y, to 26786, and we'll send them my book free
amazing.
on why billionaires like the tax code. So that'll give you 2,000 tax tips to lower your taxes. Hurry and do it now, because we got 60 days to lower our taxes,
Yes.
right? We don't have much
Yes.
time.
Oh my gosh, we got to get to work.
Right,
This
read
is
the book.
Best time
but
to do it.
yeah, so again, text Y to 26786. We'll get you the free copy of the book.
That's a great way to get started.
And you can have that book tomorrow or whenever this podcast comes out.
That's right.
And then get on it, read it, just read a few pages, and let's hopefully that book gives you lower taxes for this year.
That's wonderful. That's the best gift ever. Thank you so much, Julio, for
Thank
that.
you, Julio.
Our audience is going to eat that up because that is all what we are about. So thank you so much, Julio. We are the Rhythm Investor Podcast, and we're here with the amazing go-giver Julio Gonzalez. Thank you guys for tuning in and hanging out with our friends who live life unconventionally, unapologetically unconventional, and building wealth together.
Thank you guys so much. You can follow us at Rhythm Investor, and we'll see you guys for that next episode. Enjoy your day. And by the way, whenever you're watching this, even if it's in the beginning of the damn year, read Julio's book, because it's
Please.
always taking those first steps. And we can only with rhythm move forward, not backwards. So see you guys on the next podcast.
Bye, guys.